It's Sunday night. It's 8 o'clock. Welcome to All Lacrosse Live. I'm Gary Groob in Toronto, and with me as always, I have Shawn Slaght over in Moose Jaw. Shawn, how are you?
I'm doing pretty good, thanks, Gary.
Yeah, I saw the pick'ems. You're doing very well.
Yeah, I'm doing really good.
He's doing very
God
well.
dang it, Rochester! You couldn't win one game.
And over in Connecticut, I have somebody who's commiserating with me, Muffler Mike. And Mike, how are you doing?
It's comfortable back in the basement.
Yeah, I'm starting to learn that system and work my way downward. But I've got a little ways to go, but 2 weeks in running, boy, you know, if you're betting with me, you don't have a mortgage payment this week. No. Anyways, we got a great show for you tonight. We got a lot to cover, but just before we get rolling, as always, it's a reminder to everybody that all of our shows are streamed live across Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, also Twitch, and you can catch us the following morning on Spotify. Remember to hit the subscribe, follow, and like buttons. Always share. Please enjoy all the affiliates across the Streampunk Entertainment Network, like Fly Like an Eagle, Hardcore Sports Network, Streampunk Cinema, Streampunk Combat. And if you missed a show, no worries. You can grab everything on YouTube, whether it be at Streampunk Sports, Streampunk Combat, Streampunk Cinema, or, of course, all across all the time. Please subscribe. Please tell everybody about us. Lots of things going on there, more and more all the time. Everything there is retro games, interviews, press conferences, our library of shows, bites, and a whole lot more. Remember, you can stay up to date with all sports by visiting streampunkent.com with great articles from our huge staff of contributors. Also, a reminder that our show is brought to you by 60. 60 is Canada's newest and most exciting sports uniform and teamwear brand, delivering top quality uniforms and teamwear that reflects the spirit and identity of each team. Their commitment to innovation and style sets them apart, ensuring that every customer experiences the perfect blend of style and functionality. Unleash your greatness with 60. Remember to add LaxTalk10 for a 10% discount on any and all of your orders. How to get a hold of them, you ask? Simple. You can use the QR code that's in the center of our screen, or you can go on to Instagram at sweet_60 and message them from there. You can you can email them directly at info.sweet60@gmail.com, or go right to their website at www.sweet60.ca/60. Jim and his crew will be more than happy to work with you on any and all things that you are looking to take care of. Few things to look at here, guys. We had a bunch of milestones that were hit over this week and a bit of last week that we weren't able to get to. First and foremost, the most impressive of the bunch is, of course, Derek Keenan, who hit the 300-game coached mark, which is the most in NLL history, and put an exclamation point on that with a victory. And congratulations, Derek. What an absolutely monumental achievement. We head on over to Buffalo for a couple of them. Ian McKay, 200 career points, and he had a monster game yesterday. Absolutely a monster game, showing that he belongs as a forward. The Swiss Army knife is definitely making a mark. Also, I believe it was last week, but Dane Smith with 200 career games under his belt. Also, if we take a look, Chris Kluche, and he with 300 NLL points now as of this weekend. From last weekend, Brett Dobson with 2,000 career saves under his belt. That was fast, man. He's only been in the league a couple of years. Cody Jamieson at 1,014 career points, passes Mark Steenhouse for 16th on the all-time list. Congratulations, Cody. And also Dylan Ward for 10,000 minutes played, which sets him just under Pat O'Toole now. And not far from the top, really. I think he's number 6 right now all time. Also, in PLL, Eli Gobrick signed through 2026 with the Water Dogs. Sorry, with the New York Atlas. My mistake. Go Atlas. I'd like to see. Let's reinforce. Also, Max Adler is now a Vancouver Warrior. Traded for a 6th-round pick from the Buffalo Bandits, which seemed to look like a cleanup move on Buffalo's part. But by all accounts and by everything that Max is putting out, he's going to be their face-off guy, which is great because they need a face-off guy. So the strong just got stronger. And that covers all of our milestones for the week. Moving on over to the ALL, guys. And, well, it's been an interesting week because we have no more undefeated teams. And we have a team that I thought really would be running away with things, starting to run away with things. Let's start with Friday night over in Brampton, where the Oswego Bears visited. And, you know, they've had a pretty good year all around. But this particular game was not their finest showing. However, after the first quarter, it was 2-2. Where did the roof fall in, you ask? It fell in the second. An 8-goal run from Brampton blew this game wide open, which made this thing, well, 10-2. It wound up being 10-4 at the half, and really, we could call it that's all she wrote at that point. However, as Oswego tried to get into the game quickly with a power play goal to start the third, Brampton went off for another 8 goals in that period and, well, really put it to the metal there. At that point, we're talking about 18-7 heading into the fourth, and you would figure, hey, Mike, that they would take their foot off the gas and just kind of coast to the finish line. You'd be wrong. Brampton kept the foot on the pedal and scored another 6 in that fourth quarter and ran away with this thing 24-8. A good Canadian Football League score. First star of the game, Jake McNabb. He had 5 goals, 4 assists for Brampton in the victory. Curtis Ward was the second star with 3 goals and 4 assists. Colin Matthews with 1 goal and 3 assists for Brampton was the third star. I would say with honorable mention, Lane Ruska, who gave up all of 8 goals on the day. Interesting is that Brampton, well, it was a shooting gallery, guys. It was 76 shots that they put on the combination of Gavin Clark and Sam Forbes, who are still having nightmares of seeing rubber. Lots and lots of rubber. In the second and third quarters alone, that combination faced 44 shots.
Jeez.
Yeah. Even in the third where they're taking the foot off the gas, Mike, 19 shots.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. But Swegan had 48 shots on net. Lane made 40 saves in the victory. So kudos to Lane for having a really great outing. We move on over to Saturday over at the Toronto Rock Athletic Center, and we had the Toronto Monarchs hosting the Whitby Steelhawks. Now, this was an absolutely fantastic game that had Toronto edging out Whitby 14-13. And it looked like Toronto had this game well in hand. They were up 14-10 late into the fourth, and Whitby on the strength of Quinn Hyland, Nick Ferris, and Parker Pfeiffer with 3 goals inside 4 minutes. Made this a 14-13 game and made it white knuckle time for the last minute and a half of the game. For Toronto, Ty Jusso led the way with 2 goals and 7 assists. Tanner Buck, who got things rolling with a couple of goals to start this game, 3 goals and 6 assists. Cody Innes, 2 and 2. Isaiah Moran Weeks, a goal and 2 assists. Mason Kaminga with a pair of goals in the victory. Whitby Parker Pfeiffer, as always, leading the score sheet with 4 goals and 2 assists. Brother Devin, second around there with 2 goals and 4 assists. You think they had something to do with each other's goals? Got her. Quinn Hyland with a goal, 4 assists. Nick Ferris, 3 goals and an assist. Liam Osborne had 2 goals and 1 assist in the loss. Hell of a game. Hell of a game. We had 2 games that went off today. The first game was Peterborough facing Paris in an absolutely fantastic game as well. Just an absolute slobber knocker. Peterborough coming in, I believe, 3-0, are undefeated no more. Paris comes away with a 20-19 victory in which the winning goal was scored with 5 minutes left. In fact, this thing was tied a bunch of times going down the stretch. Paris looked like they had it in the third. They're up 18-14, and Peterborough just kept coming back. Through the third and into the fourth, they tied at 18-18. They tied it again at 19, and finally Paris was able to hold on for the victory over the upstart Peterborough Timbermen. Still think that Peterborough is a force, I tell you. The other game was the late game in the ILA this afternoon, and it just wrapped up about an hour ago. And it was Oshawa facing the Six Nations Snipers, and Six Nations comes away with a 15-13 victory, in which Oshawa was actually winning with half a period to go in the fourth, and 3 goals in 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes at the end of the fourth took Six Nations from the loser circle to the winner circle, with Mitch Zulian scoring the sealed goal with 1:07 left. Wes Whitlow with a power play goal for the game winner with 2:23 remaining. So if we're looking at this week's power rankings, we have a bit of a change in things this week, because we now have Brampton sitting atop the power rankings with a 3-1 record. Peterborough is now just slightly in number 2, also with a 3-1 record. Oswego has slid down. They are staying put at 2-2. Toronto went up 2 spots, sitting at 2-2. Paris up 2 spots, 2-2. Whitby slid down 1 at 1-3. Oshawa went down 3 spots at 1-3. Six Nations is holding there at 2-2, but well ready to come out of the basement. They have shown me quite a bit in the last 2 weeks, and I see them moving up really quickly. Looking ahead to next week's games, we have, circle this one on your calendars. Next Friday in Brampton, you have the Peterborough Timbermen against the Brampton Express in a battle for first place. This is going to be one worth watching. By the way, if you're looking to watch any of these games, you can go onto the Arena Lacrosse League YouTube page and watch these games a day or two after they have been played live. All the games are up on their page. Or if you can go onto the arenalacrosseleague.ca website, you can catch them as well there. On the Saturday, we have one game, and that will be Paris facing the Toronto Monarchs over at the track at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And Sunday, 2 games at the ILA. Oshawa against Oswego, that's going to be a big game as well, whether Oshawa can right the ship. And Whitby against Six Nations. Now, this will definitely take Six Nations out of the basement in the power rankings if they can beat Whitby. It might put Whitby in the basement. Interesting how that curve will go. Some things that aren't what we're used to seeing in the ALL this year. Parity is a wonderful thing. And teams that have been on the cusp of doing some really good things over the last couple of years, well, they're starting to come to fruition. I give you Peterborough. I give you Six Nations. I even, as bad a week as Oswego had this past week, I haven't given up on them yet. They have still been a pretty tough team up to this point. Had a bad week. Well, But check it out. ALL, where you can catch NLL players, NLL style play, and not NLL prices. So this past week, guys, I had on the NLL Lacrosse Talk Show a really great guest, really special guest. Kristen Del Bianco was on the show with us, and what a great interview it was. You can check that out on our YouTube page. It's there. You can check that out on my YouTube page as well. It's there as well. Or you can check out any of the Facebook pages. There are clips on our Instagram page as well. I want to play one clip for you just to give you a little gist of how it was going. And let's have a look at that, shall we? You guys have just an absolute fantastic team. You go into Buffalo in the finals, and you are the heavy underdogs. You go in and you absolutely shut down a powerful Banis lineup in Buffalo in game one. Let's talk about that, and let's talk about just the feeling as that game was going along.
Yeah, I think that's another one of those situations that maybe being a young kid like made it easier, right? Like you kind of don't feel as much pressure. You're just kind of like, okay, like I'm going to go swing for the fences here, right? And hope it hits, right? So I think we had a very good veteran defense with a lot of big bodies, a lot of guys that kind of were very good communicators and good at kind of taking certain lanes and give me the looks I want. And I think once you had that momentum of stealing one in Buffalo, I think deep down you knew, hey, we don't want to, although we won here, you don't want to go back to Bandit Land for game 3. So when we went home, it was kind of that feeling of, okay, we need to get this done.
And the second game was another one. It was just as a fan at the edge of our seats for the entire game. You go into overtime, and then you have just an absolutely crazy bunch of results there where you wind up making a save or one of your
Zach Courier makes a save, yeah.
And you come back and, yeah, just the whole thing. And then you wind up scoring the overtime goal, and here you are hoisting the cup. Just incredible.
Yeah, it was awesome. And I think just that, like, not that we're not a pro sport, like that's the closest we'll ever feel to the NHL for some of us, right? Like having the Saddle Dome with 18,000 fans in it. And
just an incredible interview. We talked about all kinds of things, including, the markets, teams in different zones, ideas, all-star games, his moves, his career, everything from junior. I believe we started at Tyke and worked our way up. And, just the camaraderie of everybody along the way. It's really worth the hour to listen to it. Really, really fantastic. Great guy. And we talked a lot off air as well. And he was so thankful and complimentary to shows like ours that help with the word out and, help get the exposure that the league deserves. So really, really a great time. Eduardo's with us. Welcome, Eduardo. Thank you for joining us. Eduardo. I'm sure I have more snow here than you have there. Man. I drove home in a snowstorm from Oshawa yesterday. It was lovely. Everybody drives so well in the snow. It's just like what you see on the postcards, right? For all you people that wanted a white Christmas. We're here. Only 10 more weeks to spring. And don't think I'm not counting. I actually, with Del Bianco, I was there when they beat Buffalo in Buffalo, and I was covering that. And I actually brought out an old clip of him doing a press conference after beating Buffalo, and that was kind of fun.
It's like a beach ball out there to you, that ball right now. I mean, you're stopping everything.
I think the big thing is our defense is kind of taking really good lanes, blocking a lot of shots, and then letting you see the easy shots. So it all adds up, and I think there's got to be a lot of credit to them.
The defense has stepped up so much in these playoffs. I mean, I knew you guys knew you had this big of a defense coming into the playoffs, but these are gems you're putting up.
I think just how much everybody's buying into the bigger goal, right? So everybody's sacrificing their bodies, getting in those lanes, and doing all the little things that's making us successful.
Your save right before down.
It's just the thing. Team. He hasn't changed much. Just as dominant, too.
Yep.
Anyways, that brings us over to this week's NLL. Nice little segue into NLL. And, of course, Friday night we had one game, and that was Saskatchewan and Halifax in the rematch from the week previous, which came down to the wire. This one didn't come down to the wire, did it, Shawn?
No, this one did not. Yeah, Saskatchewan ended up sweeping the home and home series with an 11-7 win. And honestly, it was a fairly close game. I mean, 2-0 after one. Zach Mans with a pair of goals, which were just carbon copies of each other. One being the shorthanded goal right off the top, and then scoring with just about 4.5 minutes left in the first. 6-5 at the half for the Rush. The Rush were actually up 6-3, but a pair of goals by Clark Peterson kind of made it a close game. And then kind of a back and forth third quarter, and then for all the fourth quarter woes the Rush had to begin this season, outscore Halifax 3-0 to finish them off. We're talking about Whiten Keenan, who had a milestone. It was his son, Ryan, who put up 4 goals for his dad in a milestone night, which was kind of special. He had 6 points to lead the Rush. Zach Mans, I mentioned, had a hat trick. He had Church with a goal and 3 assists. Even they had Clark Walter. He saw his first action this season, had a goal and 2 assists. I think the big sticking point here is you look at the power plays. Yes, the Rush gave up 5 power plays. Kind of got stuck kind of retaliating a little bit, and what, Halifax does what Halifax does, but Halifax gave Saskatchewan another 8 power play opportunities. Rush went 4 for 8. And you just look at some of the, penalties, dead ball foul, slashing, another slashing, checking from behind. They're all avoidable penalties that are just not necessary to take. And we keep saying it over and over and over again with this Halifax team, discipline. And I think even Gary said in his pick'ems, like, Halifax could win this game as long as they stay out of the box. And that's not what they did. And again, looking back at this one, like, Warren Hill played an excellent game. He really did. But again, when you're constantly down a man, you're really kind of hanging him out to dry.
43 saves is nothing to sneeze at,
No. And a lot of tough saves. Like,
54 shots, that's a lot of shots.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, you're seeing that Halifax also is susceptible to
Halifax's undoing. That will be Halifax's undoing this year. If they can't get disciplined, they will not be able to win. Because teams like Saskatchewan, Buffalo, Vancouver, Rochester, Colorado now on my radar, they will make them pay, and pay dearly. Just ask Albany.
Yeah.
Or Oshawa. Sorry, Oshawa. Freudian slip, my mistake.
And again, just going back to that point again, like, sure, penalties are going to happen, but you look at all the penalties, and they're ones that aren't necessary. They're totally avoidable. They're just, losing your head and making a bad decision.
Yeah, dead ball fouls should never occur. Shouldn't happen. In fact, you don't usually see that on a dead ball on a team with discipline. As much as Buffalo gets carried away at times, very seldom do you see them taking dead ball fouls, and that comes from the top. That's JT. That's his own persona. That there's no way you're going to give away something for free.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, that dead ball foul was offsetting, I should mention, because Holden Garland also took a dead ball foul on that one. But even then, Tarasenko slash, that was behind the play. It wasn't necessary. Either one of Tarasenko's slashes, really. Just a lot of it's just not necessary. It was behind the play where you just lose your cool. And you just can't, like you said, you just can't do it.
On Halifax, though, there's guys that should be scoring that aren't. Randy Stotts comes to mind. Had 3 assists, but no goals. Dawson Theed had a pretty good game, but he got caught up in a lot of the brouhahaing behind the plate too. I can only imagine the type of game he would have had if he would have been focused throughout. Bombery, another one where you brought him in for that particular reason, And 3 assists is all nice and things, but no goals is no help. Just little things like that. Withers was outdueled at the faceoff dot. Jake Naso, he actually got the best of him through most of this game.
Actually, this whole home and home, I mean, first game in Halifax was about a 50-50 split. I think Withers was a little bit better than Naso in Halifax, but not by much. And then, here, I mean, yeah, Naso got the better of him. So, I mean, I look at it as that, Naso really coming into his own, or is that Withers, not showing up?
I think a little bit of A, a little bit of B, but I think Naso is that good, honestly.
Yeah.
But which is your diamond in the rough, one you didn't expect to be. The other one is it's hard to disappear when you're 6'11" or 6'8" or whatever he is, Jason Knox. And really, he was invisible.
You barely knew he was on the floor.
He was invisible. Yeah. Absolutely had no impact in this game, which is odd because he's usually got something going in there. Same thing with Mike Robinson. Yeah. But 3 shots on net, but really not a whole lot of much. As for Saskatchewan, it looked like it was spread around pretty nicely. Not only did you couldn't key on Keenan because Church was around there, Boudreau, Haley, a bunch of guys in there. Zach Mans with 3, and more importantly, Zach Mans got it rolling early, which is what they needed, and kind of piggybacked off that.
Yeah, no, I mean, the shorthanded goal right off the top was huge. And you mentioned, Gary, when we were talking kind of during that game or just shortly after, I mean, when this Saskatchewan Rush team puts in a full 60, they're a scary bunch.
Yeah, they are. They're not many teams going to beat them if they put in all 60 minutes. I want to get the coach and what he had to say about this taking. And here's Derek Keenan.
First, before we even start, 300 career games, National Lacrosse League record. Just been your thoughts on that.
Well, I honestly, I think it was Heather from our sideline reporter there mentioned it to me about a month ago, and I really had no idea that I was getting that close to 300 games. So, like I said, and this is not BS, like it just means I'm getting pretty old and I've been around a long time. So, but it's like I said to our guys there, like when it's a privilege to be in this league at all, and to be around it as long as I have has been a privilege, and also I think more importantly a privilege to be around a group like we have here now, and like we've had here for many years. So it's nice, and of course it's nice to get a win. It's a lot more memorable if you get a win in a milestone like that. So yeah.
Just kind of your thoughts on tonight's game.
You know what? I thought it was a little similar last week. We're against them. They're a very good team. They're physical. They have a great goaltender. They're a good transition team. They got a lot of weapons on offense, and you have to stay disciplined and stay composed. And I thought we did it again tonight. And our power play was good at the end, and our transition game was good. We were better 5-on-5 this week too. We got more 5-on-5 goals than we did last week. So really a complete effort right from Frankie on out. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's really important against them because you can get into a little bit of a back and forth game with them if you don't finish chances on our end. And then we had some plays in the fourth quarter where we just wanted to just slow things down, and I thought that was a good strategy on Jimmy and Jared's part. And and then we had our really good opportunities. We took advantage of them. So and I thought defensively we did a really good job pressuring the ball, and we didn't give up a lot of shots tonight, and that's a credit to the defense. And when we did give them up, Frankie was there for us.
These home and home series, is there kind of much you can show, like in this kind of home game already, and the impact of that?
I mean, we kind of got the monkey off back with that team because they really had our number, and especially in Halifax for a couple of years. And we played well last week, and there's a pretty good rivalry with them now. It used to be kind of always Calgary and Vancouver, but now it's kind of they're in the mix there now too. So, but I'm sure we'll probably see them again down the road. They're a pretty good team.
Just coming up, I believe, Las Vegas next.
Mm-hmm.
Just kind of where you think of them, they're kind of a rebound team.
I think without question the most improved team in the league. Their offense is dynamite, and they're playing well defensively. Their goalie's playing well, so we got to be ready. We talked about it already. I mean, we'll enjoy this one tonight, but we'll be prepared next week for that one. All right, thank you.
And that's going to be a big one next week, with Las Vegas, especially with Vegas losing to Buffalo. And Saskatchewan on a high right now with 2 wins in their pocket over Halifax. However, it doesn't get very much easier because Las Vegas is a heck of a team, though they ran into a bit of a speed bump yesterday. Let's move on.
I just want to touch on Halifax.
Sure.
I just want to touch on Halifax real quick. Yeah, they're 2-2. Yeah, there's the continued questions about discipline, but 3 of those 4 games, they played the 2 teams that were in the finals last year.
Right.
I think it's worth pointing that out. They do have to play Buffalo again at home this time. The other 3 teams that they have 2 games against are Oshawa, who they've already beaten once, and then Georgia and Ottawa. So it almost seems like for Halifax, maybe they're getting a lot of the tougher games on their schedule kind of out of the way early.
Mm-hmm.
So that might be something worth kind of watching as we kind of progress into toward the midpoint of the season.
Right. I still like the Halifax team, but discipline has always been the question mark there. And once again, it's rearing its ugly head. When they beat Buffalo, they were pretty disciplined in that game. They didn't get into anything. A lot of this because Buffalo won't pay attention to it. They're going to do their own thing. Buffalo's not the same Buffalo team of 5-10 years ago, which would do nothing but fight. They found what winning is and what winning takes, and penalties is not part of that diet. So,
yeah, I was just gonna say too, having a home and home against a team that you're chasing in the standings and losing both games. That's really a 4-point swing in the standings when it comes to wins.
let alone tiebreaker.
Even against the tough teams, you got to at least get tiebreaker's a big one too. Good point, Gary. And you have to at least get a split if you want to kind of stay competitive. And I get it's a tough schedule, but I guess to quote Ric Flair, to be the man, you got to beat the man. If you can't beat the top echelon teams, you're not going to be a top echelon team.
Right. All right, let's move forward. Oshawa played Ottawa, which was difficult to keep the two. They're spelled so much alike. But both teams have been going in different directions recently. Ottawa has found their mojo of recent, and Oshawa has had real problems scoring, averaging 5.25 goals per game. But the thing is that they've been wasting some fantastic defensive and goaltending performances from Doug Jamieson and the Oshawa defense, because they've only given up 8.75 goals per game on average, which is, in my eyes, good enough to win just about anything in this league. And this game was a little bit different. This game, they were able to find their scoring. Guys like Dyson Williams, guys like Alex Simmons were having good games. Ethan Walker, another one, good games. But as we were heading into the second half, the defense was making some uncharacteristic flaws that were stopping them from continuing along. But going into the fourth, they still were in lead. And Ottawa, known for runs, bang. had that 4-goal run that changed everything around. But let's go back to a little bit more at the beginning of the game. And right off the hop, Ty Kurtz got Oshawa on the board. And Dyson Williams made it 2-0 5 minutes into the game on the power play. Now, this is all fine and good, but this is right into the MO, right, Mike? Ottawa starts every game slower than slow. And this was no difference. And I remember telling some people up in the press box saying, just wait. Unless it's like 18-0, just wait. And, of course, taking advantage of situations. A 5-minute major comes to Oshawa to Taggart Clark for an illegal cross-check. And, Larson Sundown scores. Riley O'Connor scores on a delayed penalty while they're on a 5-minute penalty. So that negates that one, but doesn't negate the other power play. And Connor Kiernan scores. And all of a sudden it's 3-2 for Ottawa on 3 power play goals off that one little play there. They gifted to them. Alex Simmons comes back and ties the game up. But Jeff Teat, with 31 seconds left, with just an absolutely fantastic goal, made it 4-3 after 1. Oshawa's Jackson Nishimuro tied the game with just an absolutely beautiful dive across the crease, unassisted, to start the second quarter, followed by Kurtz with a high-to-low shot to regain the lead at 6:42. Alex Simmons then picked the far corner, and when I mean it was a beautiful far corner pick to the low corner, and off a Pat Kostiuk pass. And it certainly looked like Oshawa was rolling again. It was 6-4 at that point. Jeff Teat, on a perfectly placed pass from Rob Hellier, threads the needle with 24 seconds left to bring it within 1. And we all thought that that's it for the half. Well, Dyson Williams, with merely 2.3 seconds left or something like that, 2.9 seconds, and dives from behind the net, scores, and catches Zach Higgins completely unaware. And that's how the half ends, with Oshawa ahead 7-5 at the half. Everything is glorious over in Oshawa. Alex Simmons makes it 8-5 coming out of the intermission. And it looks even better. And that was in transition off a Colton Watkinson pass. But Ottawa came right back. Larson Sundown fired a high-to-high laser that caught the top corner off a Jake Saunders feed. The Black Bears kept coming, however. Jacob Dunbar, a name that you really haven't heard much since basically the beginning of last year, he came to life, converting an absolutely beautiful pass from Jeff Teat. Another thread of the needle at about 5 minutes in. Dyson Williams comes back with the goal of the night. A beautiful behind-the-back shot from the outside that absolutely caught Zach Higgins completely unaware. If you want to see it, it is on our recap. Ottawa kept coming. Connor Kiernan with his second of the game, finishing a Jeff Teat pass. But on the power play, Alex Simmons scored from in close off a Dyson Williams pass. Now, this is what we don't hear very often, guys? On the power play. Oshawa actually went 2 for 5 on the power play and got 1 on a delayed penalty as well. The problem is that they gave up 3 themselves on the power play out of only 3 opportunities. So not good odds there. Larson Sundown got his third of the night diving across the crease. But again, the Firewolves replied when Ethan Walker fired a low-to-low bounce shot off a Corson Keeley pass at 13-10. After 3 quarters, Oshawa's in the lead 11-9, and things are still looking really good. Ottawa opens the fourth quarter with Reed Kurtz scoring in transition, unassisted, just 18 seconds in. Alex Simmons gets that back off a Taggart Clark pass, but then, bang, you can hear the roof coming in. Rob Hellier converts a Jeff Teat pass. Jeff Teat converts a Jake Stevens pass. Sam Firth joins the scoring off a Connor Kiernan pass. Riley O'Connor scores off a Rob Hellier pass. And just to add fuel to the fire, at that point, into an empty net, Kevin Brownell scores off a Brent Noseworthy pass with 1:14 to go. Now, you would think that that was it for the scoring. Nope. Dyson Williams comes back 10 seconds later and brings us back within 2 goals. Larson Sundown comes back and scores his 4th of the night into an empty net. Alex Simmons comes back off an Ethan Walker pass, again making it 2 goals, a 2-goal spread, but with only 8 seconds left, and that's how it ended. Ottawa comes away with the 16-14 victory. It comes down to that one run that they couldn't stop in the 4th of 4 goals and then an empty net goal a few minutes later. That's the big thing in this game. Now, we were all worried that because Oshawa didn't have Joe Nardella anymore, because he's out with the season-ending IR, that they wouldn't be any good at the faceoffs. Well, they won the faceoffs, guys. 19-15 total for the evening. Their downfall, again, was that they couldn't convert on the power plays that they were given, going 2 for 6 on the evening. Shot-wise, pretty even, 58-54 in favor of Oshawa. So Higgins had to be on his game. And I'll tell you what, where I thought he was a little bit off in the first, he made up for it in the 4th, because there were 3 or 4 big opportunities in the last 3 minutes that Higgins came up big on each and every one of them. And in fact, earlier in the game, he also stopped a penalty shot. So did Zach Higgins earn his money? Yes, 44 saves on the night. Doug Jamieson made 38 saves on the evening. But they still can't get the monkey off their back and are sitting, I believe, 1-5 now.
1-4.
1-4? 1-4? Yeah. Still, you're almost putting yourself out of the playoffs. That's a lot of teams to jump. I have Glenn Clark in the press conference. Let's give a little listen to what he had to say.
League as well. It's acknowledging the significant cultural contributions to our game and our sport. So I think it's good that it's a league-wide initiative and recognize it. So it's important.
Does Dougie talk to the guys about it in the room at all, or?
Not a lot, no. I mean, Dougie sort of keeps to his own business in that. I mean, there'll be maybe some smaller side conversations in that, but not as a sort of a global thing.
Did you do any in Albany, or did you have any nights in Albany?
Yeah, we did as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Coach, it always happens in the sport. You've got the offense solved, and then you have a rough night defensively.
Yeah, we had a lot of uncharacteristic individual breakdowns defensively. Really surprising and not in character for certain individuals. So yeah, it's tough because we felt like we had some momentum rolling, and then we had breakdowns defensively that just really at this level are acceptable.
And those breakdowns tend to compound themselves into finding they had a lot of guys in front of that.
Yeah, I mean, they compound themselves into goals. I mean, cause and effect. So that's disappointing for the guys that we expect more from.
But on that flip side, though, a good night for Alex Simmons, a good night for Dyson, really, really good night in front.
Yeah, I mean, we finally got a number of 10. So offensively, that's that was what we wanted to accomplish. But then the other half of that equation was not good enough. So that's the game.
Ottawa's been a team of runs all season. Coming into this game, did you have any strategy to control their sort of 6 and 5 goal games that kind of happen?
No, I mean, you just have to play well. I mean, I don't think there's any sort of magic pill to sort of say, well, we're not going to give them a run. It's more of we want to stop every single time. So we had breakdowns, and like I mentioned before, they were uncharacteristic for players that normally give us better efforts.
special teams was a factor tonight. Clark, can you speak to that on both sides, both the penalty kill and power play units?
Yeah, I mean, I thought our power play was a little bit better than it's been. I don't have the line in front of me, but I think we scored 2 and then won 6 on 5. Those 3 power plays in a row from them at the beginning kind of hurt us, but you know, we still want to be more dangerous in our power play. We're not, our movement patterns, our shot selection still aren't where we want them to be.
Glenn Hendry in Durham. Glenn with 2 ends, by the way, Coach.
Okay.
The transition, you had a chance at the end there, and you had a couple of transition opportunities. And is that something you got to work on, or just Higgins came up big there?
I mean, the work is put in. I mean, we have a shooting chart, and we go through looks that we want to do in tight, spots we want to hit, stick position, angle, approach, all those kinds of things. So we do work on it, you know, and then it's real time. So there was some opportunities in that game where we hit our spots and we shot to the chart and we shot to where we thought we'd have success. You know, it wasn't going to make saves, but it's more about just kind of executing what information they have and what we worked on.
Well, it says it all, really. That's one thing I like about Glenn is no matter what, he will tell it the way it is. And uncharacteristic guffaws from some defense that are usually pretty solid for him. And as shown in the 4 games up until this point, is that's been the one thing that they haven't worried about is defense and goaltending.
Yep. I'll also note Ottawa's first game, not giving up a run of 6 goals or more to an opponent. So
right. I thought that Ottawa did a fantastic job stopping momentum of Ottawa, especially in the third when they started getting things moving. That every time that Ottawa would score, not long after that, Oshawa was right on the doorstep and a lot of pressure and usually potting 1, if not more. And it just seemed that they just fell off in that fourth quarter. And once it started snowballing, they couldn't stop it. And I guess that's why guys like Jeff T get paid their money, because when needed, he's there. And it's just so easy for him to quarterback. He just sees the game so well as it's developing in front of him that it's almost as though he's sitting where I'm sitting in a press box and watching everything move, and he can see exactly where it's going, which is a gift. Because I don't know many, if any, who can see the game that well as an individual. All right, why don't we keep rolling? We head on over to Buffalo, and it was Tucker Out Lymphoma night over there with Las Vegas into town. And, of course, Sean Williams doing the opening face-off. And quite the game, eh, Mike?
Yeah, first game of the second Tucker Out Lymphoma Cup. And looked like Buffalo was going to run away with it, but Vegas puts up quite the fight in the fourth quarter, scoring 8 goals to make it a whole lot closer. Buffalo does escape with a 15-13 win, but return for a couple of former Bandits, and Chase Fraser and Chris Cloutier to Bandit land. Cloutier finished with 4 goals on the night for Vegas. Fraser had a goal and 3 assists. Big game from Mitch Jones, 5 goals and 3 assists. You got a goal and 4 assists out of Jonathan Donville, and this has to be encouraging if you're a Desert Dogs fan, that you're finally starting to see, decent offensive numbers on a regular basis. It's like 13 again. After setting a franchise high last week with 17 goals in the game. little trouble on the defensive end. Sometime split between Landon Kells and Alex Bouquet. Kells making 24 saves, Bouquet making 12 in part of relief. You did get 4 assists out of Jackson Webster. Tyrell Hamer Jackson had a goal, but only went 11 of 31 at the face-off dot. So Buffalo definitely controlled the possession game. On the Bandit side, 4 goals and an assist for Kyle Buchanan. Josh Byrne had a hat trick and 6 assists. Ian McKay had 3 goals and 4 assists. Dane Smith 2 and 6. He had a goal and 2 assists from Clay Scanlon. Matt Vince 33 saves. And like I said, this game looked out of hand. At the start of the fourth quarter, it was 11-5, and Buchanan made it 12-5 quickly in the fourth quarter, and then Las Vegas scores 7 of the next 9 goals to bring it to 14-12 with about 4 minutes left. Dane Smith makes it 15-12. Josh Jackson comes back and cuts it to 2 again, but less than a minute left at that point, and Buffalo was able to ride out the win. So
now, one of the things in this game is Buffalo is playing with only 7 defensemen because Mitch DeSnoot left early in the game, and then Kyle Belter, I wish he would stop fighting. He left looking pretty concussed with his little brouhaha with Chase Fraser, which really didn't look like much. But lo and behold, on the ground, and he's looking for where up is. So, and as Tavares will say in the post-game press conference, that he hadn't had any reports on either of them to that point. So we're still really waiting to have word on how bad it is. And now it goes a little further, is that since the milkman is Fogo, really you don't have him really to do much defense either. So you're asking a lot of the 6 guys out there just to try and hold this together. And one of the reasons why I believe the fourth quarter turned out the way it did was just sheer exhaustion. And, of course, the talent on Las Vegas to go with it.
Yeah, and I mean, Bandits still don't have the services of Matt Spanger. I think he's still on injured reserve.
Right.
So that's another key piece.
How Matisse really not in there.
Yeah, and I believe Ron John was a scratch for them.
Right.
So,
well, originally they didn't need him because they had 2 more defensemen. Can't really grab him from the press box and get dressed. Get dressed.
Right.
If only, eh? Imagine. Could be an interesting second half to a game. But anyways, let's listen to what JT had to say about the game itself, courtesy of the Buffalo Bandits.
I thought we controlled most of it. Just, it's a 60-minute game, and we did well for about 50 of them. But we did get shorthanded there, losing 2 defenders. So we were down from 9 to 7. So we asked a lot of our defense, and they got a lot of minutes. And when you get a little bit tired, you tend to sit, and that's probably why they had a lot of good opportunities shooting from the outside. Chris and Jonesy particularly. I don't have the updates on either Belter or Mitch.
Those 7 defensemen, obviously shorthand. How do you think they kind of navigated that situation?
It's tiring, it's we want guys to go out and pressure guys when they're going to shoot the ball. And when you're tired, it's easy to sit in the hole and give that guy a shot, and hopefully the goalie makes a save. So, the ball was finding its way in our net today, especially in the fourth quarter.
Earlier this week, we talked about the value of secondary scoring. What did you like about how Mickey and Bucky played tonight?
Well, Bucky buried 4, Mickey got 3. So that helped a lot. I think Dane took a while to get going, but he scored some big goals, especially the last one at the end there. It's like I said, it's tough to defend when we attack by committee. When it's just Josh and Dane, it's easy for the defense to shut those. It's not easy for them. It's a lot easier for them to double them, and make them move the ball. So when you have to Holka scoring, you got Bucky scoring, you got Mickey scoring. They forget about Dane, and then next like the last play, and next thing he's cutting, he's wide open. So it takes 5 on the offense to be successful. Not 1, not 2, but 5.
John, do you have even time during a game to look out and see Chris and Chase on the floor? Obviously,
I do.
And
yeah.
Is it a little odd feeling to see them in a different uniform, or you're used to that over the years?
It's a little different because they've been a big part of our team for the last 5-6 years, and you know, I'm coaching to win regardless of who I'm playing against. But you know, I definitely noticed, you know, Chris had a good game. Fraser scored a goal. It was hard rocket shots through the net, and you know, I did get a little worried there when they cut the lead to 2, and I was like, oh gosh, you know, I know Fraser can take over at this point, so I thought we did a good job, even though we only had 7 defensemen on Fraser. So we could have done a better job on Chris, but he shot the ball very well today. So happy for them that they're in a good place, but I'm a lot happier that we won the game.
What do you think of those 3 straight goals Mickey had, especially that one behind the back there?
Yeah, that was a very creative back shot there, coming around his wrong side. Mickey's a phenomenal player, very creative. He's a two-way player that he used to play defense into transition to a part-time offensive guy. Now he's a full-time offensive guy because, you know, he's shown that he can put the ball in consistently, and he's very creative, and, you know, he's very smart up there, high IQ.
And it seemed like Ian's goals came at a time when the game just settled down. It reminded me a little bit of the Halifax game, the way it was kind of tamped down. It seemed like those scores just energized everybody.
They did, especially that back shot goal that he got there. We continue help us, you know, have a longer run, and kind of demoralizes the other team. But yeah, you got to give kudos to Vegas there. They didn't give up. They were down by like 5, 6, 7 goals, and they went on a nice run there towards the end. And, you know, luckily they ran out of time. But you know, like I said earlier, our guys played hard, and we were unfortunately short 2 guys. And, you know, we have, you know, Farrell is designated just as a face-off guy, so that's, you know, another body as well. So we're asking a lot of 7 guys to play defense for a whole quarter.
Both says it all, really. A heck of a game, and another reason why Buffalo is still the team to beat. Because every time you think you have them in a corner, the champs have arrived. I want to go back 1 second, and I just want to give a shout out to the media people at Oshawa, because I've never seen notes that have been left for us. These are books, these media guides of everything and anything about both teams. So to be that in depth, a big shout out to Steve Wisniak and his group there in Oshawa, really putting together a top-notch thing for us in the media. So
awesome.
Let's move on, shall we? And that brings us over to, I guess that would bring us over to the Rochester and Colorado game. And, well, I have my Gavin Prout jersey on for just such an event, because we, and I mean us inclusively, thought that last week against Georgia, that would be the norm, and that would be the end of that. And Rochester being on the high and looking as good as they have to start the year, going in there, well, this would just be, you know, the mop-up. Shawn, I don't think I'm correct.
No, I don't think anyone had this one on the bingo card. Colorado comes away with an 18-13 win, so we have no more undefeated teams. Yeah, I mean, Rochester got the scoring started first with Ryan Smith on the power play, but then 4 straight goals from Colorado. Jalen Chaster, 2 from Jack Hanna, his first game since being traded over to Colorado. It looked really good. And then you had Braden Saris to give it 4-1 Colorado. Rochester does come back with their own run of 4, 2 from Connor Fields, 2 from Ryan Latchberry, and it's 5-4 Rochester. And we're like, okay, here comes the night talks. Not so much. A 7-goal run, I believe it is. So don't check my numbers here. Yeah, 7-goal run from the Mammoth to start. Well, pretty much the entire second quarter. Put the Mammoth ahead 11-5, and then late goal by Lanchbury, and it's 11-6 for Colorado at the half. And of interest too, we saw Ryan Hartley get the start, but he eventually did get pulled for Riley Hutchcraft in this game, which was a tough one to see, I guess, for obviously with Hartley, a little bit of an off night for him. In the third, Rochester kind of started battling back a bit. McConvey with a goal. Ryan Lee replied. Then you had Lanchbury and McConvey again for 12-9. Just as a note too, maybe a bit of a concern for Colorado, as Ryan Lee did go down with his, looked like he injured his other knee. So hate to see that, especially a guy who worked so hard to get back. And if he's a lineup that could be a tough one for the Mammoth. They open the fourth quarter. Dylan McIntosh scores. Will Malcolm, and it's 14-9. Pisano and Ryan Smith, as well as Ed Williams against his former team, and they make it a 2-goal game. So they make a bit of a comeback. Vela and Gillis make it 16-12. McConvey with a minute 34 left makes a 3-goal game, but then Chester and Pilato put the game away for the Mammoth. One other thing of note too, I mean, Dylan Ward looked like the Dylan Ward of old. 44 saves, giving up 13. He looked just on point, and what has been ailing him the last couple of years, I think he's over that hump now, and really kind of out-dueled another great goaltender in Ryan Hartley. And I guess the other question is this the Colorado Mammoth we're going to be seeing now, or is that just kind of just a hiccup in the road for Rochester?
One of the big things I think that Colorado did was they were able to control Ryan Smith and Connor Fields in this game. They both had a pair of goals each, but they didn't go off and have 6 goals and 4 goals and all the things that usually happen. Now, you can't plug up all the holes in the dam, so of course Thomas McConvey went and had 3, and Ryan Lansbury had 4, but they were able to control the majority of the play that it went into their wheelhouse, and then down the stretch, the guys who were supposed to do it for them did it. Because you take a look at Will Malcolm coming back and really just absolutely annihilating Rochester with 9 points. Jack Hanna looks like he didn't miss a beat, and the 1 goal he had was just absolutely insane. But to put 2 goals, 6 assists down, just an absolutely crazy night. And Jalen Chester really, coming to where he's supposed to be in all this. Thomas Vela as well, So getting it from all,
absolutely.
You know what I'm saying, John?
Yeah, no, I was just going to say, like Will Malcolm absolutely just took over this game at one point. And I mean, that's kind of what he's been brought in to do. And maybe, just kind of looking at, it almost seems like bringing in Jack Hanna was just kind of that missing piece that they were looking for. Just kind of offset and help out those guys like the Will Malcolms, the Ryan Lees, and kind of put a little bit of pressure in that extra.
It helps spread out the offense as well.
Yeah.
You can't key on Ryan Lee. You've got Jack Hanna there. That opens up Braden Saris, who had a couple of goals on a night and is finally getting his chops in the league now and doing what I thought he could do when he was taken from Peterborough earlier in the draft, right? And he's a big kid and really has great hands. And he's going to make a big statement in this league. And now I think he's starting to get that feel for it. So a little unfortunate Ryan Lee went down. Hopefully it's not too severe and he's not out for an extended period of time. But this is the Colorado team that I think we all thought we were going to see off the beginning. And we're kind of befuddled scratching our heads, especially with Georgia, who had all kinds of trouble as well, who completely manhandled them. But I have a short clip, courtesy of the Colorado Mammoth, of their coach, and let's listen to that.
I've always said, like, we've got good character in the room, and everyone was really embarrassed about last week. So we played different. Guys played with more energy. We got to the middle more. But yeah, adding Jack makes a really big difference. Just makes the offense a little more dynamic, I think. And their defense has to pay more attention to him, which opens up other guys on the floor. So yeah, it's just that energy though. There was some like Warren Jeffrey scoring that transition goal. Those are things that we weren't getting in the past, and just how the energy that it brought to the team really made a difference, I think.
How do you take the energy from tonight into next weekend's game against Groob?
I'm open to suggestions. Do you have any suggestions? I think that is the key to this sport. That's the key to most sports, is to how to replicate this. And I think the challenge is that we don't need to get shit kicked to have urgency. We need to. Personally, I feel like we owe Georgia. We didn't give them a real good game. So if we're not prepared for next week, then again, we have the wrong guys in the room. But I don't think that's the case. It's just like really, it's the belief in the room, I think. Like some success like this can be contagious, and everyone, when we win a game like this and everyone's like hurting in the room and we're tired and everyone's cramping, and there's no better feeling than that, like to actually have bled for your teammates. So I think it's just building on that.
Coyle says it all, really. I look at it this way: is now they're not going to be gripping their sticks nearly as hard, which means that they start becoming a dangerous group because they can start freewheeling again, and they have the talent to do it. So look out. This is another one part on that list now of, on the upper echelon, which is about, it's not 2 or 3 anymore. I'd say it's 6 or 7 that are teams that you have to kind of Spockian eyebrow watch and see how they're doing and where they're doing it and why, and go.
Yeah, let's not forget that Andrew Q's still out right now for them.
Yeah.
So when he returns, that offense is going to be even more dangerous.
Yeah, and kind of going back to what Pat Quill said too. It shouldn't happen, but the shit kicking they took, maybe that's what they just needed, was that little. Maybe they needed that bad loss against Georgia kind of as a wake up call.
Oh, it makes you look in the mirror going, what's wrong with us?
Yeah.
And they had a long, deep look. I think lucky for them, they didn't have a bye week where that would have to sit with them for 2 weeks. And they were able to get back on the horse and this time ride it throughout the rodeo. And here you are, and with a great win. And like you said, Dylan Ward looking like the Dylan Ward of old. That's scary, because the last couple of years it's been hit or miss, more miss than hit. And if he's feeling it and playing that way, then the rest of the team lightens up as well. Then you're going to see their transition games start to pick up as well, because they're not going to be so apt to need to stay back and worry about what's going on back there. And, that's how champions are born. So a heck of a win. I think that's a statement win, if there ever was one. All right, that brings us to our last game of the week, and that is Calgary and San Diego. And this is a penalty-filled mess, really. But Calgary needed something like this to get themselves righted after last week against Buffalo.
Yeah, definitely another example of, you don't want an embarrassing loss to sit for too long. And in this case, Calgary got to rectify it a week later, while San Diego had to sit on their embarrassing loss to Rochester from 2 weeks ago through 2 bye weeks. So Calgary does come away with a 15-11 win for their first win of the season. So now there are no more winless teams in the league. for San Diego, they're dropping to 1-2, and both of their losses were at home. So that's a little concerning because Pechanga Arena is usually a very difficult place to for a road team to come out with a win. And so far they're 0-2 at home. Big nights for Tanner Cook and Braden Maye, both of them with 3 goals and 6 assists for 9 points each for the Roughnecks. Secondary scoring stepping up, something we hadn't been seeing from Calgary. Hayden Dixon, hat trick and assist. Tyler Pace had 2 goals and 5 assists. Noah Manning had 2 goals and 3 assists. You got a goal and assist, or sorry, a goal and 2 assists from Riley Lowen, a goal and 2 assists from Harrison Matsuoka. Aiden Walsh had 48 saves. And yes, a big penalty-filled second quarter, 28 minutes in infractions handed out, including a fight between Justin Inacio and Eli Gobrecht. For San Diego,
not the one from the Water Dogs, Mike. Not the one from the water. Wait a minute.
Yeah,
Alice.
For San Diego, Westberg a hat trick and 2 assists. Trey Leclerc had a hat trick and an assist. Corey Small and Pat Cavanaugh each had a goal and 3 assists. You got a goal and an assist out of Connor Robinson. Big game for Trevor Baptiste, a goal, an assist, 22 of 31 on faceoffs, 6 loose balls, 2 caused turnovers. But, Calgary got out to a big lead. Both Chris Origlieri and Cam Dunkerley saw time in the Seals' net. But definitely a little bit concerning for San Diego to kind of be thoroughly embarrassed at home your first time around, and then have to wait 2 weeks and be at home again, and then kind of
not look good again.
This game, against a winless team. So
I was gonna say it looks like Orig left with an injury in that game too. So again, if that's anything serious, they're moving.
I think
forward
that's more
with one card.
dehydration than anything else, if I heard it right.
Yeah.
Let's hope. 'Cause, I mean, if he goes down, not that Cam Dunkerley isn't a serviceable backup, but
well, they face a wounded Dogs this week too, right? They face the Toronto Rock, who have not been having a good time of it lately either. And if Origlieri is not in there, and if you have the other ailments that's happening there, and if they're apt to take a lot of silly penalties, that could be just what sets that Rock offense finally in the right direction and point the needle N to the north, because right now it's pointing southwest.
Yeah. Well, they definitely don't want to turn into Halifax West, because the week after that they're traveling to Vancouver. So
yeah, it doesn't bode well. These schedules are pretty wild, and anybody, bottom or top, can pull off a win, because I still think that Toronto and Oshawa are much better than they're showing to this point. And long season ahead, but everybody knows that when you have to leapfrog 7 or 8 teams, you have a better chance of being sellers than buyers, so to speak.
Yeah, maybe it goes through my caption a bit. I mean, I don't think you need more than one hand to answer that question right now. In fact, I don't even think you'll use all of one hand to answer that question right now. I mean, I would say...
Yeah, I every time I think a team has momentum, they go the other way.
I would say Saskatchewan right now. And after that...
Maybe Buffalo.
Maybe
Buffalo,
Ottawa, maybe Las Vegas.
Yeah,
but
Las Vegas. Well,
too.
They didn't look great in the loss to Buffalo until the 4th, and that's only because of a tired Bandits defense. So there might be still a little ways to go there. Ottawa possibly, but Ottawa only plays a quarter a game, really.
Yeah.
At some point, that's going to bite them.
Yeah, and it's probably only because they were playing Oshawa that they didn't get hit with a 6+ goal run. So
Well, it's also they face Halifax this week, and in Ottawa, so that's going to be a hell of a test, and they're going to have to be good for all 6 minutes, all 60 minutes.
And if we're just talking momentum here, I'm just going to throw us out there. Like, yes, they took a bad loss the week before, but that win by Colorado, I mean, if you take down an undefeated team like that, that's got to give you some momentum heading into the next week. I don't think you can argue too much about that.
Yeah, no, I agree. There's a couple of games.
Into a rematch with Georgia too, who humiliated you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we got Rochester against Philadelphia. I don't like Philadelphia's chances in this game just because Rochester got beat.
Yeah, they'll be going for blood.
Fairly soundly, and they're going to be wanting blood. And Philadelphia is prime for the pickings, and Rochester already has one win on Philadelphia, and 2 wins in that game because they won the goalie fight too, which is now sitting somewhere around 2 million views. Go team! Go team! Love to see the NLL say we don't want fighting, but that's the one that gets the most views. Maybe we got to rethink this one. Vancouver and Calgary. I don't care what the lineups are. I don't care how good either team is. They always put their best game on when they face each other for the rivalries. It's kind of like Toronto and Montreal in hockey. It doesn't matter if one team's in the basement and one team's in the top. They always seem to have this game of games when they play each other. And, this could be Calgary's Champions Cup game. Really.
Man, look at all the former Roughnecks over in Vancouver now.
Yep.
No, that's not going to sit well.
Well, we talked about that with Del Bianco on Friday. And, of course, it's recreated his junior and his NLL teams in there. And, of course, most had a lot to do with Coquitlam as well. So taking from A and taking from B to form C is really what that is. Saskatchewan and Las Vegas in Las Vegas, I think, is an interesting game. In fact, that's one that's circled on my calendar to really pay attention to, because you have the team that is really should be there at the top, and you have the upstart team that is vying to become near the top for the first time in their history. And I think this is a really good test after Buffalo last week to see how resilient they are against a top-notch team in Saskatchewan. And can Saskatchewan once again play all 60 minutes? Because if, like we talked about before, if they can play all 60 minutes, they're scary good. If they only play 42, they're not that scary. What do you think, Shawn?
Yeah, I'm right with you on that one. I think it's going to be a little bit of a litmus test for Saskatchewan just to see if they're are they for real at this 4-1 record, or are they still kind of middle of the pack? And the same with Las Vegas. I'm kind of interested to see, how the transition game will work out, especially with Saskatchewan, who lives and dies by that transition against Las Vegas. Could be interesting. Saskatchewan's usually used to low-scoring games, whereas, I think you're probably going to see a higher-scoring game in this one and see if they can kind of keep up with that.
Right. Now, this is we're still on Friday night, guys. This is the first real real big week for the NLL. We have one more game on Friday night, and as Toronto rolls into San Diego, as we just talked about, and both teams are struggling. And is this what the doctor ordered for both teams to try and get on with the show before it's too late? Because God, there's an awful lot of talent on both teams for them to be flailing away.
Yeah, especially in San Diego's case. I mean, to lose this game and be 0-3 at home.
Yeah. So we'll be paying close attention
to the season. Yeah.
Very close attention to the injury reports to see if Wrigley is going to be playing. I think he will be, but just anything's possible, right?
Yeah.
But,
there's going to be a feeling of desperation all around in that game.
Now we head to Saturday, and again, the game to circle on the calendar is Buffalo is into Rochester. I know everybody in Rochester is all up for this one. This is always a barn burner because the place is packed, because all the people driving the half-hour drive from Buffalo will be over there to fill that barn, and you will have quite the electric atmosphere and two absolutely top-notch teams. And Rochester, who just took that defeat, going to want to right the ship.
Yeah,
And
and
they already
that'll be
played the night
interesting
before.
because exactly there'll be 24-hour turnaround from a game
And having to
the night before.
travel in from Philly. So Buffalo is just sitting there, and most of those guys live in the Buffalo area. So really is not a big travel for them to make morning shoot around. Whereas Rochester be going all night after the Philly game to get back into Rochester so that they can be getting a bit of rest before game time. So let's see how brutal a game they play in Philadelphia, how rough a game Philadelphia wants to take to them, and are they doing Buffalo favors while they're doing it? Interesting. We move over into Oshawa. I will be at this game. This is the Gales night, Green Gales night, and check out these beauties of uniforms, guys. How about that?
Nice.
It's awesome.
Your vintage Gales ones, and behind that is the Firewolves ones in the same style. So there's going to be a lot of things in there, right down to Jim Bishop's daughter, Gail, doing the opening face-off. There's a number of things going on there. So this place is selling out most every game right now. So you're going to want to get your tickets now. And
this will be interesting. This is another Halifax having played the night before in Ottawa.
Yep.
See how they bounce back.
Yep. And Oshawa that found their scoring, but can they put it all together for 60 minutes? That's going to be a big thing. If they can, and I think they have the ability to, and if they don't take any dumb penalties, 5-minute cross-checking or something stupid like that, which brought Ottawa back into the game, if they can let Halifax take all the penalties, maybe they can build on the upswing of their newly found power play, because Dyson Williams and Alex Simmons, they are on point. Add in a longboat and like that, and you're going to have yourself a real formidable power play. And instead of if you take a look on either the recap or on YouTube or even on our page and listen to Alex Simmons in the press conference yesterday, talking about the power play of not doing the pump and actually just shooting, finding the place you want and shoot. If they do that, they're more successful. And let's see what they can do. And if they catch a hot Horn Hill again, right? Could be a 3-2 game, Hill against Jameson. The Six Nation goalies facing off. Just for an extra storyline. They should have been in the Indigenous Night game this week. That would have been a little more interesting. We have one more game in the week, and that is Colorado and Georgia. We talked about that. And that Colorado is going to want to come out for blood after the embarrassment from the last time they met. This time it's in Georgia. So let's see how that all plays out. But I think that Georgia's in for a much busier night than last week. If that happens, do we start getting the talk about Lyle Thompson again?
I still think it's a little early on that.
Never too early to shop to see what you can get, right? Who knows? Can you imagine if you're a Buffalo and need one more thing to go over and that's available? Would it be worth mortgaging the future to 4P?
Oh.
All right. I mean, I'll play line one again. What are you asking for if you're John Arlotta?
Yeah.
I'm going to try and get 2 firsts and a current player is what I'm going to try and get.
I mean, I think you need.
And you saw what Jack Hanna went for. I mean,
yeah,
you're going to look at that and say, "Well, Jack went for that."
True, but that was, but let's not forget there was that
right?
caveat about that Hanna trade is that Vegas kind of had the leverage because Jack Hanna had to be in Colorado.
Yeah, but again, we all thought they overpaid, but how much of a difference did it make to the Colorado offense?
That sets the market, regardless. That sets the market, right? So
without Andrew Q.
Yeah.
That's true. That's true. But I mean, I guess I was looking at it as Lyle doesn't have to be in Buffalo.
True. But if you're Buffalo and you're Chugger and you have the opportunity, he's not shy about pulling moves to bolster in time for the playoffs. Yeah. He's done it each of the last 3 years. Whatever is injured.
Hey, listen. If you're Chugger, I think you got to pay up, because if I'm Jamie Dawick and I hear that Lyle's available, I'd sure like to have Lyle on that right side with Challen Rogers.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm looking at, right? If Arlotta is looking at it, regardless of what happened in Las Vegas, he's saying that's the market value that the guy's going for right now. That's what I want. I don't know. He doesn't care what the situation was.
Years ago.
Yeah.
I look at Buffalo a number of years ago and remember with Darius still as the coach GM, and they were close a couple of times, and he dealt out first-round picks. And Jamie Dawick did the same and dealt out first-round picks, and the team didn't win. But now they had no first-round picks for a number of years. When Chugger took over for Darius, he had a mess to clean up, really, because he had no picks. He had an aging team, and he had to try and find a way to clean it all up, and did in a number of years, but it was a slow-growing process for the first couple of years. And now Jamie's finally got some first-round picks again. He used all of them this time around. He's got another 1 or 2 in the next draft. Does he go out and do something like that? Or does he want to continue with the youth movement that's going to build his team for the next 5-6 years and adding pieces that he needs?
Yeah, I mean, I think you're going to get maybe a couple of draft picks. I just keep going back to the player, because looking at it from Chugger's perspective, you just lost Fraser, you just lost Cloutier in the offseason.
Mm-hmm.
Clearly, Dane Smith, Josh Byrne, Ian McKay, and probably Nanticoke are untouchable.
Right.
And Nanticoke's more, honestly, at this point, Ian McKay's more untouchable than Nanticoke, even though Nanticoke is local, has the indigenous connections. If I'm Chugger, McKay's my number 3 forward right now, and Nanticoke's my number 4.
How about this one though? Mike Triolo hasn't fit in yet. Is he expendable? And you made this big move to get him.
He hasn't, but I can't see John Arlotta giving up Lyle Thompson and getting Buchanan or Triolo or Lucas Nielsen in return. You need a big
with 2
name.
first-round picks
at this point. Well, with 2 first-round picks, yeah, but I'm willing to drop a first to a second or a third if I can get a bigger name player. And what if I get a bigger name player on the defensive side, knowing that I don't have Joey Capito anymore. Mike Manley's getting up in age. Jordan McIntosh is getting up in age. I'm starting to lose some of my bigger names. And, I think John Arlotta knows, the future of his defense is Michael Grace and Kaysen Tarbell, Wiedemann. These guys are younger.
I just wonder, you're talking about big
Now
names.
here's the
Though, then,
unsung names also. Would you be looking at maybe Dylan Robinson to go around with a couple of first round picks? Because there's one guy who is completely.
I think it needs to be him or Wires or Spanger.
Because that's the thing with big names. That's the thing with big
obviously you're
names.
not going
Like,
to be
you're not
able
going
to
to get.
get. Obviously you're not going to be able to get Priolo, Paul Dawson. Plus they're older. You're not going to be able to get the Snoo because of his, the him needing to
How about
be.
Nick Weiss?
Oh, that's just my thing about big
nobody
name. Is
thought
I
that they
think
would-
you're not going to see it
nobody
out
thought
of a
they were gonna
contending
get Brunel,
team because they're not going to want to give it up.
Right. Nobody thought they'd get rid of Brunel, and Brunel's in Ottawa. Just a thought. Just something for.
And don't
everybody
forget,
to-
they dealt Noseworthy away too.
Yep.
Let's not forget that too. And not to diminish what, but he was almost kind of a throwaway in that set of trades.
Yeah.
Not to make it sound like he's not worthwhile, because he's having a heck of a season now.
Right.
But he was almost kind of an afterthought in all those trades. What about Ranjan?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's never really sat in the lineup, has he?
In and out, but so is Matisse. But I can't see Matisse going back to Georgia.
Right.
Yeah.
Just food for thought, guys. Just food for thought.
Oh yeah.
If you're asking for Ranjan, let's say, and I'll flip flop it. Let's say a second in 26 and a first in 27 for Lyle. If you're a Chugger, are you making that deal?
How about if you're Oshawa? Do you want his leadership on the team, and can you afford it? There's a number of pieces that
That's
could
an
go.
interesting one, yeah.
There's a lot more that could go there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they could use that kind of mentor for their young core.
And I don't think it would destroy their future because they are a young group. Again,
That's more enticing for sure.
Just a thought. Just places where I think it might fit.
And they, they have more flexibility in being able to throw back a young right-handed forward or a young left-handed forward or a young defenseman.
Yeah.
Which is probably, again, what John Arlotta is looking for. He's going to be looking for picks, but let's not forget, Oshawa does not have their first-round pick in 26. That belongs to Ottawa.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe a deal like that becomes a young defender, a young forward, and maybe a first rounder or a second rounder in 27.
It's also enticing because it's close enough to Lyle's home, right? Because I don't think he wants to go to, say, a San Diego or a Calgary, or it's got to be a heck of a lot of travel.
Probably not. He's done enough travel,
Yeah.
He's doing enough travel just going Onondaga Nation to Georgia.
Mm-hmm. Which is what I mean. So doing Six Nations in the summer doesn't seem to be too worrying. This is only another hour away. something to think about, anyways. Just a reminder to everybody that we are on Facebook, we're on Twitter, we're on Instagram, we're on Thread, we're on YouTube, as well as on www.streampunkentertainment.com. Please come back and visit us 3, 4, 5 times a day because the news is always changing and we have our fingers on the pulse of the situation, that we are up to date and accurate with what we are posting and putting out, calling and using all the sources that we have available to us to make sure that what you are getting is correct news. Anyways, to wrap up for the week, brings us to last words. Shawn, let's start with you this week, the winner of said pickups this week.
Yeah, boy, Rochester could have.
By a landslide.
I thought that one was the sure thing too. The Rochester, no, apparently not. No, you know what we said off the top of the show here. You know, congratulations to Derek Keenan. I've had the opportunity to talk to him multiple times with working with the Rush, and such a humble, great guy. And I mean, just not just the 300 games, but just, you know, his body of work as a head coach is just unbelievable and couldn't happen to a better guy. You heard how humble he was in the interview talking about it. So couldn't be happier for the guy. And yeah, this upcoming week, I mean, so many games to choose from. Saskatchewan, Las Vegas. I'm actually interested in seeing that Buffalo Rochester game. See how Rochester matches up against Buffalo, as well as how do they bounce back after that loss.
Absolutely. I also, you know, one of my favorite guests was Derek Keenan. He was on the show last year, and just an absolute fantastic guy, and so gracious with his time. So really proud of that accomplishment, and really happy to see that, and looking forward to a few more of these guys hitting this as well, because we're probably close with a couple of them now. But we'll see. Mike, last words to you.
Yeah, I mean, like Shawn said, a heck of a week coming up. You know, Halifax is also on a doubleheader, so that will be interesting to see how they bounce back after getting swept by the Rush. Interesting to see if Colorado can keep up their momentum and kind of avenge that humiliating loss to Georgia last week. And then I think Vancouver Calgary is going to be another game to watch.
I think so too. There's a couple of things that I'm curious about. Rochester Buffalo is definitely one. Toronto and San Diego, obviously for local interest, but also to see where both teams have been struggling and see which is able to find the N before the other team, because they're both flailing around the S right now. And there's too much talent on either team to have this be a pit stop. I also am curious to see how Colorado comes out in this game against Georgia. And is it gloves off right away and just go for the throat? Or has Georgia got something more in store for them again? Or does Georgia know this is coming? And all kinds of different scenarios that's going through my mind. But also that there are so many games this week that you cannot be bored. There are plenty to watch at any given time. And if you're using NLL Plus and can watch them all in spurts, you can keep yourself busy all weekend, buried with lacrosse. Can't think of a better thing to do, eh? That's Oz. But anyways, that'll be it for this week. Just a reminder that NLL Lacrosse Talk on Thursday, we have Nathan Woods on, so that should be an interesting interview. He's spent time with the Gales organization. He spent time with Brooklyn. He spent time with Colorado and Ottawa as well. So should be a great interview. And that's 4:00 on Thursday afternoon. All right, that'll take care of us this week. Remember, we're here every week at 8 p.m. on Sunday nights Eastern. Tell your friends, tell your family, tell everybody. And until next week, for Shawn Slaght over in Moose Jaw, for Muffler Mike over in Connecticut, I'm Gary Groob in Toronto, wishing you the best of weeks. And until we meet again, make sure you keep your sticks high and keep your spirits higher. And Happy New Year again to everybody. And until we meet each other next week, have a great week, everybody.